Welcome ladies and gentlemen to this Age of Empires 4 build order tutorial for the French, and today we're going to do a French trade boom build order. It's going to be using the Chamber of Commerce landmark, and as usual, first things first, we queue up villagers from our town centre. We take the first 6 villagers to go to sheep, and we'll take our scout out and about to find as many sheep as possible. The first villager to come out from the town centre will build a house, and then go to gold by building a mining camp. The second villager to come out from the town centre will also go to gold, and that will give you an opening of 6 on food and 2 on gold. Now what's going to be useful is this build order opening is the same as the French feudal rush build order that I have on the channel, where you open up with the other landmark and you go for very heavy feudal age aggression. The reason why I've done that is because you want that consistency and you want to actually see where the trade posts are spawning before you make a huge decision about whether you want to go for trade or not, because of course it's very map dependent. And I do have that build order on the channel if you wish to check it out. I really would recommend looking at both these build orders and maybe applying them so that you can kind of transition between one of the two, depending on the situation that you find yourself in games in Age of Empires 4. In any case, what we will do is get the next 4 villagers to food, and that will make us have 10 villagers on food and 2 villagers on gold. And now is a good time to actually control group a couple of villagers that are underneath the town center until you get 10 on food. So what we'd recommend is control grouping 3 villagers from the food villagers there, because they'll be building your landmark later on, and then also control grouping another 2 villagers from food to another keybind. Now if you're not sure what control groups are, effectively what they are is when you select a group of units and you hold down control and press a number, it binds those units that you've selected to that number. So as you can see on the top of those villagers, you can see 9 and 3, and well, 9 is actually a button on my mouse, so don't worry about that. In any case, any number you can ascribe it to, and it means that when you press that number, it will select those villagers again. So it just makes things a little bit easier to move your villagers around in a quick manner. In any case, now that we've got 10 villagers on food, we're going to send the next 4 villagers to wood. It's worth noticing as well that I do actually have all my PDF versions of the build orders updated. So if you do want to have access to PDF versions, do check out the video description, have some instructions on how you can get hold of them. If you already have access to the PDFs, it will be there on the most updated version. Well, in any case, now that we've got the food and gold that we need to get to the next stage, we're going to take 3 villagers away from food that we control grouped earlier to build that Chamber of Commerce landmark. Also, we're going to take those 2 villagers we control grouped on another keybind to go to gold. So that's 3 from food to the landmark and 2 from food to gold. In the meantime, we've been rallying to wood. As we said earlier, we are aiming for 4 on wood, and make sure as soon as the lumber camp is built and you can afford it, that you queue forestry. And once we do have 4 villagers on wood, we will be taking 1 villager from food to build a house and then go to mill to the berries. Now you can actually go for the mill at the deer if it's close by, because you're expected to be playing quite aggressive in the early part of the feudal age, so you should have some map control, and the deer obviously will be very, very good as a source of food. But because berries actually gather food slower, I'm going to show you how to do the build with berries, just so that you're comfortable in case you can't actually go so far out to the deer packs. So we've reached that 4th villager on wood, and now the next new villager from the town center will go to gold. That will give you 5 villagers on gold in total, and then the next 2 villagers from the town center will go to food. Now they can either go to the deer or to the berries, whichever one you've chosen to take. I mean, they can even go for sheep if you'd like, if you've got plenty of sheep underneath the town center. Just bear in mind, you know, the sheep spawning, however many sheep you actually gather, is a bit variable, and hence why we've built in this mechanism into the build order to transition to berries in case you're running out of sheep. And once the mill has been built, you want to queue up survival techniques instantly. You want to basically get that as quick as you can, so that once the landmark, the Chamber of Commerce, has been built, the free traders will be queued up nicely for you. Now that you've got those 2 villagers to come out to food, the rest of your villagers will come out and go to wood. That will fund lots of different things in the next stage, including traders and your production buildings. Because when you do get to the next stage, which we're just about to do, we will be dropping a stable with a villager from wood. We'll then start to queue up knights. Those knights will go forward to try and harass our opponent, and obviously the trade will be up and running as well. You want to be waypointing your Chamber of Commerce landmark to the neutral trade market that you want to trade to, just so that the traders automatically make their journey there. And once you got to the next stage, you also want to queue up further eco upgrades. You want to start off with horticulture, because you've got plenty of villagers on food. You want to really boost up those villagers, and then when you can afford it, you want to actually queue up double broadaxe from the lumber camp, and then the pickaxe upgrade from the mining camp. It's at this moment in the game that you want to start scouting your opponent if you haven't already, because you need to find out where those key resources are that you can start to harass with your knights. Your stable is just about to be built, and once it is, you want to queue up those French royal knights to pop out and try and harass your opponent. We're going to waypoint that stable directly forward so the knight pops out and goes straight forward. As you know, the villagers coming from the town center are all going to wood, so we will be starting to think about getting a house and also archery ranges. We want to start pumping out those archers to supplement our knights. You can go for 1 archery range, maybe 2, depending on how aggressive you want to be. In this build order, we're going to just go for 1, and because the new villagers are coming out to wood, the next plans really are to think about a blacksmith. The French, when they drop that blacksmith, they get bloomery for free, the attack melee upgrade. Of course, you want to think about other upgrades too. Don't forget about wheelbarrow from the mill. That will really bolster up your economy, but also grant you another free trader. Hope you guys enjoy this build order tutorial for the French, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all things Age of Empires 4.